everyone, Phoenix Knight here. Welcome to the channel, and welcome to Mystical Munchies featuring the official Halo Cookbook. Frank's fish nuggets were really good last week, so this week we're on to the dessert, chocolate cream pie. You may hear the oven chirping in the background, but I'm bringing it up to temperature. So with that, let's go ahead and tell the story. In a world full of peril and uncertainty, you can always count on Pie Day Friday. Bitter and chocolatey like a dream you don't want to wake up from. What? What? My dreams can be like that sometimes. Don't judge me until you try this dessert for yourself. Well, we're going to try it for ourselves here in a few hours. As usual, the ingredients are waiting for us at the table, so let's move in that direction. It is a little bit of a disorganized mess here by my standards, but I am trying to go for a three-part ingredient split. Because the first part is the crust. For that, we're going to need 10 ounces of chocolate graham crackers. Yes, Teddy Grahams were all I could find at the grocery store this afternoon. No, they're not going to look like teddy bears when we're done with them. 5.5 tablespoons of unsalted butter and a teaspoon of salt. Then to make the filling, we're going to need 5 egg yolks, a 1/4 cup of cornstarch, 1.5 cups of milk, 1 1/4 cups of heavy cream, 1/4 cup of sweetened condensed milk, half a teaspoon, actually, then we need half a cup of sugar, half a teaspoon of salt, 1/4 teaspoon of espresso powder, 8 ounces of bittersweet baking chocolate chopped. That's more like torn, but it should do the same job. Another tablespoon of unsalted butter, and 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. That should be vanilla extract. Then to make the whipped cream, we need another cup of heavy cream, a tablespoon of confectioners, aka powdered sugar, and another pinch of salt. With that, let's move into the kitchen and start putting this recipe together. As I mentioned, I've got the oven preheating to 350 right now. So if you hear it chirping, that's what's going on. As you can see, we've got the food processor in shot. And unlike the last time I went to use the food processor, I actually remembered to put a blade in there this time. So we're going to start off with the chocolate graham crackers. We're going to mince up these little teddy bears. We'll get these things open. Okay. Then we'll pour them into the food processor. That can hit the bin. Now, I do also remember this being fairly loud, so once I get this locked in place, there we go, come on. There we go. Alright, so here's your 5-second warning before I turn the food processor on. Yeah, I'm awake. Hopefully you guys are hopefully you guys are too. Let's see. How can we get? Maybe we can get that a little bit finer, but I'm going to pulse it at this point. That actually seems to look pretty good from here. I'm surprised at how quickly it handled that. So now that we've got it ground down to a fine crumb, there's the oven just getting to temperature, which is perfect timing. Now we're going to take the unsalted butter, and it was 5.5 tablespoons, not 5 1/3. So 5.5. These will cut it out there. I don't want to go too far with, okay, the butter is actually going to be part of the filling as well, so I don't want to go too far with that. There's the butter. And now we want the teaspoon of salt. Here's our salt. Ooh, easy does it. I don't think I need the teaspoon for anything else in the recipe. No, I've got the 2 teaspoons over there for the vanilla extract later. So that can go back up. And now once we get this locked back into place, let me see if I can bring some of these crumbs back down. All right, now we're going to pulse it together until everything's combined. So once again, here's another 5-second warning before I turn on the food processor. Wow. I think I may have underestimated the strength of this food processor. Seems like it took that butter and made mincemeat of it. Also obscenely loud, where I'm definitely awake. Fortunately, the oven did come to temperature. I think we'll give this one more pulse. And we should be good there. So, now I'm going to go grab my pie plate. We're going to take the crumb mixture if we can get that out. Put the blade toward the dishes. Then we're going to take the crumb mixture, if I can ever lift this out. There we go. We can move the base of the food processor out of the way. We'll bring the pie plate into shot, and we'll pour that in. We're going to press that to the... We're going to press against the bottom and the sides to form an even layer. This might be I might have needed a deeper pie plate than this, but these usually... Oop, easy does it. Okay. I think that's probably about as pressed down as it's gonna get. All right. Okay, now we're going to wash our hands. And now that my hands are nice and clean, we're going to put this in the oven for 15 minutes. Then we're going to set it aside and allow it to cool completely. So we're going to take that into the oven. I'll move the camera out of the way just a touch. Put that in, set a timer for 15 minutes. And then we'll let that bake. So while we're waiting for that to bake, I just got a delivery in today. So let's adjourn to the game room and crack that open while the crust is cooking. This box just came in from Appa International today. You may have seen them on the channel as we've unboxed several sports games by them. So this is another one of those, most likely. But this is a weird shape, so let's crack this open and find out what we've got in here. Alright, looks like the tape came off a little bit weird. Is there anything on the sides that's going to prevent us from opening this nice and neat? No, there isn't. So we can get that lifted out nice and easily. And we'll find out in here that we've got void fill in here. We've got the invoice, which I'll intercept that. Okay. So in here we've got the startings of my journey for APA football. So these are the defensive play calling cards for what play we're going to be calling. And then we've got a Super Bowl team in here. 2002 Super Bowl between Tampa Bay and Oakland, along with the manual for APA football. Now, I could very easily have bought the basic game of APA football, but I have most everything I need to be able to play APA games. I've got a spare shaker with dice, and I've got a bunch of blocks in here that I can use for tracking the ball and mailers and all, tracking the ball, first down markers, and all that good stuff. So I decided to explore APA football this way. In case you're wondering why I didn't just pick up a season of APA football, I was thinking about it, but then I saw the price tag and I was like, yeah, no, I'm not dropping that kind of money on a season of APA football until I have a chance to get the game in front of me and see what I think. As I've been watching Dave Gardner play it on YouTube, I also found a new YouTuber by the name of Jason Flash Football who's been playing that. It looked really interesting there, so I decided I'm going to give that, I'm going to try this out. But I definitely want to see what I think of it. I definitely want to try it before I drop the money on a full season of it. So we're going to do that at some point. There's a little bit of setup that I've been seeing with this game. So we'll have to get into that before we jump into this game. But that's it for this small product unboxing. We'll come back with the next part of the recipe ready to go. The crust just came out of the oven, so I'm leaving that over on the table to cool off. I've got a couple of oven mitts down underneath it. So now we're going to combine, so now we've got a medium bowl, which I know this is a little bit bigger than a medium bowl, but it'll work. So now we're going to combine the egg yolks, which I was separating earlier. Let me grab a spatula here, see if I can get a little more of this off. There we are. I think that's about as much as I'm going to be able to do with that. So that's the egg yolks. Then we want the 1/4 cup of cornstarch. Yep, that's still good. 1/4 cup of that. That can go toward the dishes as well. And that can go in here. Okay, I don't think I'll need the salt again. Nope, I won't need that. Actually, I will need that tonight, but we can put that over by the table for the time being. Then we need a 1/4 cup of the milk as well. We'll do this over the sink. Easy does it. There we are. Once again, trying to make sure I can read the meniscus. It's a little over, but that's all right. Pour that in. And I'll combine all of this. There's one last yolk in there I was trying to break up, but I think I got it now. So now we can put that aside, and then we'll head over to the stove. Here we go. I was looking for another wooden spoon in here. We're going to be spending a little bit of time at the stove here, so there's probably going to be a long clip where I either don't shut the camera off or have it off as little as possible. Because this next part of the recipe is going to be very critical. My instincts tell me I could potentially botch the recipe here, so we're going to do all of this. So we're going to do this next step fully in real time. Yes, it's going to get boring, but again, I'm trying to avoid having the recipe botch on me. So, now we're going to combine the remaining milk. So we're going to start off with the other 1 1/4 cups of milk, since we used 1/4 in the yolk mixture. A little bit more than that, but that's okay. Yes, y'all get my arm and shot. No, I'm not going to do anything about that. There's our milk. Then we've got our heavy cream, which we need a 1 1/4 of that as well. Give this a good shake before I use it. There we go. Pull tab didn't want to pull for me. That's a little annoying. But we got it there. Alright, so what did we say? 1 1/4 of heavy cream. Okay, there we are. Let me grab another spatula, see if I can scrape a little more of that heavy cream in. Okay. I think that's probably about as good as that's going to get. The heavy cream, once I find the lid, can also go back. Then we need 1/4 cup of sweetened condensed milk. Want the can opener for that. We'll probably need another spatula for this, so I'll get a smaller one ready. Whoa, Nelly. Okay. I'll reach under that for the spatula, which I had a sneaking suspicion I was going to need. Okay. I think that's probably as good as that's going to get. And then that can hit the bin because I won't use the rest of it for anything. Then we need 1/2 cup of sugar, which I've got the canister right here off camera for that. Half cup of sugar. Pouring it at a weird angle, but no help for that. Another 1/2 teaspoon of salt, which I can use 2/4 for that because once again multiplying fractions works. 1, 2. A 1/4 teaspoon of espresso powder. Seal pops off nice and easy. 1/4 teaspoon of that. That can go toward the dishes as well. And then that can go back up. And our bittersweet baking chocolate, which I've got right here. That can get poured in as well. That can hit the bin. And now we're going to combine this over medium-high heat, and we want to bring it to a simmer. So we're going to set that to about a 7. Yep. And by a simmer, we mean we want to bring it to just starting to bubble. If this starts boiling, then we've gone too far with it. So in that regard, I want to be very careful with this. We'll see how the crust is doing. Still pretty warm, but I'm not altogether surprised by that. Trying to keep an eye on everything here. Actually, I'm not going to bore you guys here with watching this saucepan mixture come to a simmer. I'm going to keep a very careful eye on it, and we'll come back once this is starting to simmer, because I imagine this is going to take a while to heat up. I think I went too far on this, but we're going to find out. So now that we've got it up to a simmer / starting to boil, now we're going to start tempering the yolks. So what we're going to do is we're going to take half a cup at a time of the cream mixture we're going to take half of the cup at a time of the cream mixture, a little more than that. Keep going. Alright, that's a little more than half, but that'll work. Then I want to whisk it together to make sure the mixture doesn't cook. The idea here is I want to bring the temperature of the egg yolks up gradually, because I don't want the egg yolks to cook. And I'm going to repeat this until I use about half of the cream mixture. Okay. A little more. And I realize I'm doing this at a weird angle. Okay. I think we can probably go probably about one more. Actually, I'm going to dip this in twice. I'm going to dip this in to get another half cup out. Actually, we're probably about, whoa. Yikes. Some of that, I think, is starting to scorch. So I better give that a quick, give some of that a quick stir, but I think I have a feeling I've gone too far with it, but we'll find out. So we'll whisk that in. Then we'll bring everything back into the saucepan. We've got a spatula. We've got something to scrape everything out. Whoa! That wasn't good. I'm trying not to splash myself with hot liquid here. Because splashing myself with hot liquid seems like a really bad thing to do. We'll give the counter a quick wipe down where I was storing, where I was putting the cup as I was pouring in the cream mixture. Then we'll whisk everything together until it thickens, and that should take about 5 minutes. So I'm going to get that out. All right, I will set a timer here, kitchen timer. Come on, there we go. Whisk everything together. Seems like it's already getting pretty thick. Holy crap, that is thick. Definitely did not say anything about remove it from the heat. I'm going to turn that heat down a little bit. I have, like I said, I have more than a small feeling that I've gone way too far with this. But you know what? That already seems like it's really thick. So I'm actually going to call that there. Now we're going to add the vanilla extract and the butter. The little birdie on my shoulder is telling me this is probably already too far gone, but we're going to see about that. So here's the butter. And the 2 teaspoons of the vanilla extract. Like I said, my instincts are already telling me this is too far gone, but we'll find out if that's the case or not. Because this already thickened on me something fierce, and alright, I'm actually going to take that, I'm actually going to make an executive call and take that off the heat now. And then with that, we're going to move over to the counter. Now we're going to take the cream mixture and pour it onto the pie crust. I've got a spatula here in case I need to scrape anything out of the pan and or flatten this down, because this thing trying to get my hands in here into a pan that's fresh off the burner seems like a really dumb idea. Actually, I'll get the whisk into the dishes carefully. I will grab the spatula. Scrape as much of the chocolate of the cream mixture out as we can, even though it looks like I scorched a little bit of it. Okay. All right, now we're going to put that in the fridge to cool for at least 4 hours, but in reality, once I make room in here, it's going to be overnight that it cools for. Let me make sure that closes. Okay, good. So by the magic of editing, it's going to seem like just a moment before we come back to that, but in reality, it's going to be tomorrow morning. Okay, so we've got the pie and shot, which actually feels like it's been setting very nicely overnight. I've got the spatula that I was using to scrape the blade out of the white of the mixer blade, and I've got the mixer bowl, which we'll unscrew that for a second. I said we'll unscrew the mixer bowl. Not move the... There we go. So there's the mixer bowl with the frosting, and I've got a spatula in hand along with the pie. Would anybody like to guess what we're going to do with these? If you guessed we're going to use the whipped cream to frost the pie, congratulations, you win the prize for today. So, we are going to take the frosting here. We're going to frost the pie. Still seems a little bit liquidy, but it was making the peaks that we wanted it to, so we're going to go with it. Actually, we're going to do this with it. Okay. Then with that all sorted out, that can hit the dishes. I'm going to cut this up, put a piece of it on a plate, and I'll meet you guys over at my desk for the taste test. Took me a little bit of effort to get a piece of the pie free, but we finally got it here. It looks great. The frosting's a little bit messy, so you do want to keep that in mind. Hopefully it'll set when it's been some time in the fridge, but let's give this a taste and see what I think. Okay, here we go. I definitely like the pie itself. It's got a very chocolatey and not an overpoweringly sweet taste. The frosting's a little bit liquidy. It's a little bit more liquidy than I think I was expecting it to be when it was finally forming into the peaks that we wanted, but otherwise it's also pretty good. I definitely might like this a little bit better with when the frosting has time to sit in the fridge, but that is another episode of Mystical Munchies in the books. Still a busy weekend coming up on the channel. Later this afternoon, I'm planning on concluding baseball testing with the game of season ticket baseball from 2002. We're going to have the Boston Red Sox visiting the Anaheim Angels from 2002. Pedro Martinez will be going for the Red Sox, and Ramon Ortiz will be going for the Angels. Then tomorrow we're going to play the Plum Island Horror from GMT Games. As for next week's Mystical Munchies, we'll be making the drink out of the official Halo Cookbook, hot chocolate. Thank you for watching the video. Please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to turn on notifications so you get my content. Be well, stay safe, take care of yourselves and your loved ones, and I'll be back with more videos in the future. Until then, take care everyone.